I just wish it was a little longer for the winter time because my head gets cold.
Well said, thank you.
How is it? I mean, does your head get cold?
Okay, good evening and welcome to the, YouTube. Welcome to the October 2023 Board of Selectmen's meeting. It looks like 7:03 or 4 over there. By that clock, I'm going. Okay, in the event of an emergency for this big crowd that is in the audience, would be on your left, my right, to go up that stairway there. If for some reason that wasn't passable, you could go straight down the hallway out the back, which would lead you to the firehouse, or up the stairs behind the wall with the clock on it, through the double doors and out. We'll put you in front of the town hall in the event of an emergency, which we do not anticipate. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to start down over there.
Over here.
Over there, on my left.
Good evening, Mitch Goldblatt.
Good evening, Ralph Okenquist.
Ann Denny, Secretary to the Board.
Good evening, Judy Williams.
Good evening, and thank you for being here, PJ Shanley.
Okay, very good. Public participation. Public participation is for any item that is not an agenda item, and we allow 2 minutes for a speaker. It's,
All right.
just-
You can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you. My name is Melissa Johnston. I live at 451 Herbert Street. I'm here as a concerned parent and community member. I learned a little over a week ago that the playground structure at High Plains Community Center, apart from the swings, was damaged beyond repair and was going to be removed for safety reasons. As a parent who spent countless hours at the playground when my kids were at Orange Community Nursery School, when we've been at High Plains for many activities during the week, and whose child spent time playing there this summer while at camp, I'm so glad to hear that the playground will be replaced as it's used by so many groups. I would urge the board to not make a decision on replacement structure without consulting the groups like OCNS, camp, and others who use the space. I'd hope that we could use this opportunity to seek to understand the needs of these groups, solicit input, and explore if this is an opportunity to improve the space for all of the countless families who utilize our community center and cherish our playground. I'm also concerned because I've heard from multiple people now that the structure is unsafe. But when I drove by at 5:52 this afternoon on the way here, there were a lot of little kids playing on it, specifically the wooden structure. There didn't appear to be any signage or indications that parts of the playground shouldn't be used. So I was just wondering if it's safe to play on until it's torn down. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Tom Paisano, 523 Fairway Road, Orange, Connecticut. It looks like we do have some unfinished business that unfortunately is not on the agenda. We have 568 people that are wondering why they signed a petition and what's going to happen to the cornfields at Fred Wolf Park. It really brings up two questions that need to be answered. And I was hoping from last meeting, some of you at this board perhaps could accommodate a polite call to the leasee and ask what their intentions are for this spring. Hearing that, I don't think any of you have made that call, but if you have, I'd like to hear that because I'll be writing some some letter to the editor, and I want to be precise of what I write. The second question I'm begging for an answer for, and John's not here, and PJ, maybe you know, does BL Company, who is handling the study at this program, know that 568 people have signed a petition to utilize that cornfield?
They know the cornfield's part of the overall.
Yeah, but they don't know that 568 people, and could you write that down? 568 people have signed a petition for the town of Orange to utilize their land that they bought So I just wanted an answer, and apparently I'm not getting one. I'm surprised. This year's an election. We should probably be able to answer 568 people's question.
Nathan, is this petition, has it been submitted yet?
It's not submitted yet because we thought we'd do the polite thing and not go through and put the people of the town of Orange through it. But it can be submitted anytime. I talked to Vin Marino. That's not a dead issue. That's not something that we'd rather not have the expense and everything of the town. So we're trying to do the polite thing. Once again, I would suspect somebody on this board would be able to help us. Thank you.
Tom, BL is aware that that cornfield is part of the overall scope of the project.
Well, the next question comes, when's the meeting? When's the meeting with BL Company for the public so we can expose that?
We just had one.
No, I know your meeting. I've read your minutes. I don't think
We're
all the
waiting
minutes.
on information, and I'll give my report at the end, but we're waiting on information from BL
No, I understand.
to get back to us.
I understand,
So we're
and
gonna-
the
we're gonna
research
book
is
the
being
meeting
done.
when
I'm not questioning that.
They get back to us.
I'm not questioning that at all.
Okay.
I know that certain things are not being exposed, and the people are asking questions, and we'd love to come to a meeting about that issue. Obviously, this board has done nothing with that issue. Just for any of the public that wants to know that, please ask. Thank you. Any other questions of me before I sit down? Or I get terminated with 2 minutes speaking or a bell or something like that? No, we're good? Thank you.
Hi, Dee Dee Leboff, 660 Broadview Road, Orange, Connecticut. I only have one question. My husband and I took our grandson to the playground, probably well into September because I had major surgery in July. So what absolutely took me for a loop was the fact that there were at least 6 or 7 signs that said 5 to 12. And my understanding was that the purpose of this playground is to accommodate the youngsters that are below 5 because they can't use the playgrounds at any of the schools, and it just doesn't make any sense. I know, taking Ben there, who is very active and very good at climbing, that there were a lot of them that he just couldn't do without my husband helping them, and they weren't appropriate. And I just thought this was the purpose of this, to accommodate this age group. And if you take a look at it, there are at least 5 or 6 signs that say 5 to 12. 12-year-olds aren't going to go there, but under 5, that's what they're there for. So I think it should be looked into, especially if there's damage. It should be more appropriate playground equipment.
I'm sorry, damage, are you talking about High Plains, or are you talking about the new playground?
The new playground.
Damage or site plans.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I misunderstood that.
Okay.
Okay, well, the new playground has, if it doesn't have damage, there should be accommodations for more appropriate equipment for kids that are under 5. Thank you.
I want to thank Mitch for taking my call. He gets a present.
I tried answering you, you weren't answering. Probably couldn't hear you through your mask.
What happens when you let
I'll be able to take it.
I'll answer on the first thing regarding the playground. We have some calls out to a couple playground equipment providers, one of them being the provider for the Wolf Park playground, asking them about smaller and lesser pieces and stuff, what's available out there in the marketplace, since this came kind of suddenly. I thought that it was supposed to be taken down already, so I'm told now here that it isn't, so I will have to ask tomorrow why it's still standing. But we are researching for something for up at your place, which would probably make Mrs. Leboff happy, because your group is the appropriate age group for what we're looking for what she's requesting. So that'll probably cover that. But at this moment, we don't have any answers. Mitch had questioned me, why isn't there something on the agenda about appropriating money? Well, we can't appropriate money until we know what we have. And at this moment, there's I said to him earlier, when we first both came in, remember years ago, and I'm older than most of you, but you'd go down the Post Road and anybody who sold sheds, sold swings, and they had playground equipment, there were some places that specialized in it. It's like a vanished thing now. Now it's a specialty market, evidently. But we are working on it. You are gonna get another piece there. It will be paid for in a similar manner that Wolf Park Playground was. It's not gonna cost you. And it'll be a new improvement, a good improvement for you over there. But once I find out what people have to offer, then you'll have dialogue to say, oh, this is what this one has, or this was what this one has, what do you think? But until I have something to show you, we're at a hold, I guess I'll call it, but you are getting new equipment. As far as the petition, I thought last month, Tom, when you got up, you said there's no need to submit a petition, everything can be done very nice, so on and so forth. And now this month, you're back saying that you could submit the petition, so you've kind of made a loop from what you said last month, but that doesn't surprise me. But I know that you've been told, not by me, but by others, some sitting at this table, that your petition isn't an appropriate petition anyhow. Maybe that's why it wasn't submitted, but whatever the reason may be, you heard PJ tell you that BL is aware of the entire property over there, and BL is looking at the entire property over there, and we'll see what they come up with. That, however, does not guarantee expansion of soccer fields. It could be a racetrack for go-karts. It could be, I don't know, a splash pad. It could be a jogging, rubberized track and a football field like up at Amity. Could be a number of things, but once they come up with it is where we'll find out. But there is no guarantee that it's got a specific use labeled at this point, and that's why I don't attend those meetings, and they do, so that they have a clear and open palette to work, because I know if I attended those meetings, you would accuse me of steering the meeting, so I purposely don't. But enough said there.
I didn't want to interrupt, but is it, so the playground, people should play on it or not play on it?
As far as I know, you can play on it, but it's gonna come down very quickly now that I know it's still standing.
I just wanted to let you know that I was cited by the town health department today, that the structure is a hazard and should be removed or repaired.
It should have been removed.
Yeah, that happened today, so we are no longer using the structures at all.
Tomorrow, you'll see a difference, I hope. Yes, Mitchell?
Yeah, just to reiterate a little bit what you just did about the structure coming down, which I think is the appropriate thing from what
Appropriate,
we've heard. The other question is, as far as, looking at other structures, is this something that you will bring back to us? Will you bring it to Danielle,
Well,
OCNS, or at least
I
for the
think we're
camp?
gonna let Danielle and whoever she has
Yep.
with it. I mean, we have to see what's available,
Okay,
and I'd like to get something, if we could get something before snow flies, would be wonderful.
Okay.
At this moment, we don't have anything, but there will be something. If we have to order it and have to wait till spring, then so be it.
Right.
But,
would that be something that we need to take action on now to appropriate a certain amount? Do we need a special meeting? I mean, I'd hate to see you find something tomorrow, and we gotta wait till the middle of November before we act on it.
you can't really appropriate money because I have no idea how much to ask for.
Right.
So if we do find something, I think it should be looked at first, know if it's something that they would be comfortable with.
Right.
And, Park and Rec would be comfortable with over there, and then it will come to us. And if I need to have a
Special meeting?
quick special afternoon session, so be it.
All right, thank you, because I don't wanna wait till the middle of November if we can.
No.
If we can help it.
No, we're
And
trying
get them-
a couple different places I called, and one I spoke to, and they said they would see what they could come up with. The other one, I left a message. So you would think that the one that just did the big one would, jump through hoops.
Okay.
So we are aware of it.
Thank you.
All right. Now you want to do your part? Yeah.
All right, on behalf of the Orange Recycling Committee, I want to thank people for participating in the shredding day this past weekend, despite the rain. We did have a lower amount of people come out for sure. We did still collect 8,900 pounds of documents for shredding. It did not fill the truck this time, but certainly got most of the way there. I know that because of the weather, the Buy Nothing group decided not to go forward, but the Orange Community Women did, and did pick up a significant amount of things that they had to add to their collection of goods to bring to Savers for their fundraising. And so we are now in line for a mega event on April 27th, 2024. We will have the shredding again. We'll be back with the hazardous waste in the back of High Plains, the collection through the Regional Water Authority. That's been set up. We'll be back with the mattress collection at the same time. Orange Community Women will be back. And as long as the weather's good, Buy Nothing will be there. And on top of all that, we are looking at determining how we can collect electronics. There's been a call for electronic recycling. Some people are not comfortable just bringing electronics to the transfer station where they even though it is secure in the trailer, they want to see it destroyed or the hard drives destroyed. So we're working with figuring out a way to do that. That may incur a specific charge for people for hard drive destruction. Otherwise, people can still bring electronics to the transfer station.
Is there
But
a
we're
way
looking
that
at that.
they take the guts out of the casement and they just extract the hard drive?
Yeah, but I
out
think,
of it?
I believe so, but I think there's more to it as far as the official, if you will, destruction of it, as opposed to just taking a hammer to it. So.
It's the 22nd?
27th, yeah, this Saturday, April 27th. So we'll have more information about that as we get closer, as far as how we determine how we'll do some sort of electronics. Even if it's just collecting electronics that people don't normally bring to the transfer station, we may just bring it to the transfer station for them. Second of all, as people may remember, last month, Jim gave me an assignment to work on with food scrap collection, and I'm happy to report that as of Monday, we now have collection toters or bins at the top of the transfer station, just to the right of Goodwill. They're green. They have no identification on them yet. There will be stickers on them shortly, and the Orange Recycling Committee has contracted for signage similar to the signage we have around the transfer station with icons and saying scrapped. So this would be for food scraps, food waste. People can bring it there themselves. If they recycle, if you compost at home, keep doing it. But if for people that bring their solid waste to the transfer station, if you would separate your food scraps into a separate bag, and believe it or not, a plastic bag is okay in that bin, or just take a bucket and dump them in. Yeah, according to Country Disposal, they will tear the bags apart when they take it. No, it won't be the machine. First, they'll physically hand pull them apart. It sounds like a pretty smelly job to me. Or if you would prefer not to, and I think the preference is not to, put plastic bags in there. If you can collect your food scraps in some sort of a bucket or a jar or old coffee can or something, and just dump it in, not with the can or the jar, that is acceptable as well. As far as the scraps themselves, they will be used for composting purposes. Country Disposal has a system set up where they're going to do that, and then use for agricultural purposes. And for the town's part in this, why is it a good thing? It's a good thing anyway, right? It's a good thing anytime we keep things out of the hopper, one way or another. It's a good thing for the environment, but it's also going to be a good thing for us as a town financially, because we are paying approximately $100 a ton to remove any of the municipal solid waste. That's what goes in the hopper from the town. We will be paying half that amount for food scraps. So food scraps that normally would go into the hopper at $100 a ton, approximately will be $50 a ton if we can segregate them into the bins. So it's a pilot program. We're hoping we get the cooperation. We're hoping people will participate. We passed out flyers at Shredding Day to people to let them know about it. There was an article Orange CT Live yesterday. There's also been news releases sent to the other newspapers in town, so we're hoping to get this out and rolling and get people participating. So what is a food scrap? Meat and poultry, bones are okay. Shellfish and fish, the bones, once again, or shells are okay. Fruits and vegetables, rice and grains, any spoiled food, chips, snacks, any dairy products, eggs and eggshells, bread and pasta, nuts and seeds, even tea bags, coffee grounds, but not the coffee filter, and not the K-cups. The pods are not compostable. No takeout containers, no forks and knives, plastic forks and knives, no napkins, no paper goods, no aluminum foil, no juice containers or cans or glass or things like that, things that may sound logical. Pet waste is not to go into this, but pet food can. So that's pretty much the gambit there. And we're trying to get more information out to people with signage at the transfer station. We'll have flyers there too shortly. Thank you very much.
I have some questions, if I could.
absolutely.
You said it's a pilot program.
Yeah.
How are you going to monitor this?
So they get monitored by the fact that, like any other hauler, they will have to weigh in, weigh out. So we will know, just like we do with the municipal solid waste, how much is coming in, how much is going out. So we'll know what the cost is on that respect. It's really going to depend on, participation. If they're coming once a week or twice a week and they got half a barrel, it's not working.
Right.
If we're able to get, people to fill the barrels up, it's definitely working. And of course, a lot of things are driven by supply and demand. So if they find there's no demand for this for some reason, although he's sure there is, he being Michael Cowden from Country Disposal, if we find that there's not demand, we'd have to, go back to the old ways. And it's pretty simple to go back to the old ways. We're just hoping that this is something that will stick, will become a regular thing for a long time to come.
And who's going to, monitor the barrels up there? And I'm thinking of.
Overflow?
Well, no, not overflow. I mean, I compost.
Putting the wrong things in there?
No, well,
Okay.
no, but we compost down at the farm, and of course.
Great.
As soon as you put stuff in, you cover it over with dirt so that the animals don't get to it.
Right, so these, they didn't have them Monday, they're supposed to have them by today, or they didn't get a chance to check today. They're supposed to have bungee cords stretching from
Okay.
the back to
That
the
will help.
front, so that certainly when somebody goes up there, they may have to release the bungee cord to open the top, and should put the bungee
Dump their
cord back
stuff.
on.
Okay.
But we're gonna ask,
All
Bob's here, so we
Yeah.
talked about, Bob Britton met us out there a couple weeks ago on a Saturday. I thank Bob for coming out, meeting with a couple members of the recycling committee, myself, and Country Disposal to discuss the whole program there. And what we determined was that hopefully at the end of the day, whoever's up at the top, we'll just make sure the bungee cord, is in place so that it's hopefully animal-proof, if you
Yeah,
will.
it's gotten to be more of a challenge for all of us. And so I understand the cost now, because I remember when we first had this, it was gonna be individual people, and there was gonna be no cost to the town. So we are just absolutely, shifting our normal cost.
We're
from the-
shifting our cost at the transfer station itself.
Right,
As some of you may know, Country Disposal is out there soliciting business for home pickup. And in that case, they're trying to work with people so that they can separate it and not be an additional cost. But I'm not sure what his structure is, and I haven't seen, he's trying to be as competitive as possible with the
okay,
haulers that are there now.
all right. Well, good luck, okay.
Okay?
All right, that
Hope
helps,
hope it
thanks.
works, and I appreciate the board's enthusiasm last month, and Jim bringing it to my attention, and I really appreciate the Orange Recycling Committee for endorsing the idea, and Bob and his staff for their assistance, and we'll just hope that this becomes a successful program going forward.
I did put in 2 phone calls today to West Haven,
Okay?
and they never returned my call because I was curious. I believe I read a while ago that they stopped the pilot program and
There have
gave
been,
it up.
there have been problems, I don't know if they stopped it, they did stop it in parts of Guilford, and I know that there was some problems in West Haven because of the fact that the bags were being used were not always as segregated as they should be. People were confused as to what to use. we're not attempting to duplicate that effort. We're attempting to do it based on a voluntary basis at the transfer station for right now. If people do want to compost at home, it's going to be, instead of being forced on people, it'd be somebody would say, yes, I want to get, and last time there was a picture of it, there's a green bucket about this big that snaps closed, that people would use, that if you're using it for the home use, to be picked up by Country Disposal. But that program unfortunately doesn't seem to have the legs that they thought it would. I don't know that West Haven's necessarily stopped it, but I know there are problems with it, and we're trying to do the best we can not to have those same problems. And we're hoping that, if people are, intent on actually separating their food scraps, that they'll do it properly and not contaminate what shouldn't be in there.
It's something that has been beat around out at Council of Governments, which is our 17 communities in this area. It goes from Milford and us all the way out to, I think Guilford is, and Madison. Now, Madison and Guilford just started it just a short while ago, and Guilford has had the suspension and part of it. I think more confusion than anything. We have a person that is a consultant that works for Council of Governments. I'm the chairman of it currently, who oversees all this recycling stuff. And she had it going in West Haven. They have suspended it at this time. For multiple reasons. Participation dropped right off. The bags weren't available was a problem. Finances were a problem. Just a myriad of issues there. But many towns are looking at this. So we're, when I brought it, here for Mitch to bring to his committee to try, you don't know if you don't try. I have intentions at our next COG meeting. I want to ask Pam to start to look. Of course, my pet peeves have been cardboard and glass. And I got cardboard done years ago. That was one of the first things I started selling was the cardboard separated. And glass is the next one because the Housatonic Valley, over there, their COG, they are in a glass pilot program, which Mitch is aware of also. And so I think glass, years ago, when we were kids, we did have glass bins down there, and you had to even separate it by color. Now, things have advanced since then. Part of the problem is food scraps is an easy one because it goes to the anaerobic digester, or it will go, to be composted at a farm somewhere, not mine. Glass and plastics are a bigger problem because they're not reused broad scale in America. The manufacturing that uses glass and plastics like virgin product, and they don't seem to use a lot of recycled products, so the recycled glass and tin cans and plastic and stuff goes overseas. And those markets dwindled with everything that was going on. And I think now, with the things that are going on overseas in multiple locations, those users are going to dwindle more. America needs to learn to reuse glass, reuse plastics, do some of these things that they're not doing, You can only make so many marbles out of recycled glass here with the swirls in it, So they need to get on their game, and, they think it's a great thing going from a glass pickle jar to a plastic pickle jar. Well, there's many people who can reuse a glass pickle jar, but not much for plastic. So there are things that the country overall needs to, but I'm one for glass has been my pet bitch for quite a while, and out at COG, they know it.
And Jim, as you know, we've looked into it a couple times, especially with the Housatonic region, who
Yeah.
seems to have a good glass collection, but we're not part of that region. And the cost of shipping to that part of the state was not something I was willing to bring forward to this board, at least. But we're hoping to get something closer to home. And I did speak to
Well-
Laura Francis about this as well. So I hope to be on your seminar coming up, or webinar coming up in a couple weeks.
Now, Monday, the
Is that when it
16th
is? Monday? Yeah.
is the one for the new facility that's
That's
being
what- that's
built
the
in
one.
North Haven.
It's in
New
my
Haven.
calendar.
That's Monday.
Yep.
I was supposed to be at Amity, but now that got canceled, so I probably will be out there in North Haven. Mr. Foyer, actually, he's probably watching, will like this next part, because the glass that they are recycling is going, I think, to Rocky Hill. And so they have containers now, roll-off containers with the slide doors on the sides, and you can label it blue glass, green glass, clear glass, et cetera. And it goes on a hook body truck to the recycle place up in Rocky Hill. There's also one in Milford, they're grinding it for aggregate. So I said that if we could get on that glass program and get that set up so it works and get these hopper trucks for the recycle part of it, that the next truck I will buy for the Public Works Department will be a 550 size truck, a 450 or 550 size truck with a hook body system, so they can use it for glass body, but then it can also be used for a dump body, for a sander body, or a flat body as well. But that would be their next truck they would be getting if we can get this glass program going. And, so you send a man to Rocky Hill once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it may be. Oh, well. All right, so, any other announcements at the table? Yes, Judy?
I do. I'd just like to give a shout out to Matthew Gurgis. And Gurgis did an unbelievable job at the Wrights Pond parking lot. He took it upon himself to figure out how he could straighten out everything, and he and I guess his neighbor Chris went down and started working on Sunday, and after I interrupted his work, and then Jay interrupted his work, and I'm not sure who else stopped in to basically say, hey, what you doing? It ended up that it was a volunteer effort that ended up with a beautiful product. We had Kenny Ciola donated a roller. The highway department was there on Monday providing all these materials. The materials are all being paid by my uncle's trust fund, Richard Treat Wright. He has left monies to take care of the property in that area. And that 2J project, just, it's absolutely gorgeous. All of the cement bumpers are lined up. It's holding well.
Yes.
We've had heavy trucks turning around in there and stuff like that, and it's really a great improvement. So I really do thank Matthew for taking that upon himself and volunteering his time and equipment and creating a nice finished product. So thank you, Matthew.
Okay, well, my announcements, first and foremost, the news that shook the entire world, the attack on Israel by the barbarians and what was caused there, and the deaths and how some of those deaths happened, and the beheading of babies and children and killing of parents, and it's just absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific, and I think that, there's some people that love Netanyahu and some people who despise him. You saw the protests, when all those elections were going on and all. I think personally, and I have no skin in the game except for my support for these countries, that he is the right man for the job now, because the atrocities that happened there this past week, you need somebody like he, who was a military person, to take hold of that. And I just hope it doesn't bring on another world war of some sort, but what happened there was just completely unacceptable, completely, in any way, shape, or form. And people of all countries that were there visiting where hostages and killed and the people that lived there, and it just, I turn it on each day to see on the news what's happening next with that, and it's just horrific, and I hope justice is served on that one, because it's just horrible, so, just my thoughts on that one.
Send in prayers.
Yes. In memoriam, since we met last, Dorothy Lane, who was involved in town committees here over the years. She was on the charter revision, and I know she was on some others, but without Karen Goldberg here, sometimes we don't have the keeper of the cards, and it gets difficult to find out. And Chief Joe Raleigh, who was a police officer here for many years, and the police chief was laid to rest yesterday, I believe. So our thoughts are with those families and their losses there. Jason Ornstein. I have to thank Jason. We received a gift of a painting of this building from the Orange Center roadside, the town hall. And it's absolutely beautiful, and it's big. It's big. We're not quite sure where to put it yet. But it's a beautiful painting, and we sent it down to Jason down at Framer's Edge, and it took quite a while, and he says, no, I want to get certain wood for it, certain wood for the frame. Well, he finally got the wood for it, and it came out beautiful. Right now, it's in the safe because it's that big. But it came out beautiful, and I'm very proud to have it from Marty Nadula, who painted it, who was an Amity graduate, who's now up at the University of Vermont, and Jason for taking the time and effort to make a beautiful frame for it. I think it might fit on that spot over there on that wall, right behind the Leibovs over there, because it's that big that it needs a big space. And you'll see it when you come down the stairs that way. It's not something that like will just fit in the stairwell or something. So but it's a beautiful painting. So thank you to Jason for his great work on that. Funtober at the fairgrounds is Saturday, October 21st, with a rain date of Sunday, October 22nd. It's from 1 to 3, and I believe it's sponsored by Community Service, Park and Rec, and some other organizations, town organizations, are involved in that. But it's the Funtober is for the kids, Saturday, October 21st, rain date the 22nd, 1 to 3 at the fairgrounds. I think they have a trunker thing where they decorate the trunks of the cars and all of that. That's kind of an important one for you ladies to publicize for the school down there. You might even want to have a car with the trunk all done. It's a good business reach out. Marketing. Daylight savings is going to end Sunday, November 5th. Remember to set your clocks back 1 hour before you go to bed on Saturday night. Spring ahead, fall back. Although I think, is this our last fall back? When are they changing that? Who knows? That was supposed to end. I thought they voted on that. Oh, it might not have. Okay.
one house
I think it got hung up. You're right, Mitch.
Oh, great. So anyhow, we're falling back on Sunday, November 5th. Election Day, Tuesday, November 7th is Election Day. All voting is at High Plains Community Center. There's 3 different districts, but it all takes place at High Plains. Absentee ballots are now available in the town clerk's office. You can call the office, they'll mail you out the application, and then when you return that, you can get the ballot, or you can come in directly to the first floor of Town Hall, clerk's office, and fill it out and turn it in right then. Also, for those of you that receive a mail ballot, if you want to drop it off instead of mailing it back, the ballot box is outside the rear door of the town hall, and it's waiting for you to drop your envelope in there. Let's see, the town hall was all scraped and painted in the last few weeks in between rainstorms. We had voted and approved that bid, and they painted the entire exterior, scraped it, painted it, repaired some decay areas on windowsills and all, and it looks great. Mr. Brenton, it came out very good. You'll see there's some fireproof file cabinets out on the back sidewalk. The tax collector office bought those, and they are very heavy, and they can't come in the building. One did. One overloaded the elevator. We had to have the elevator repaired. So they are going to, they're for documents and records that he has to keep from many moons ago. So they're going to the basement of the library. There's an area where there's plenty of room, and it's a solid floor, basement level, and they're having movers move those into the basement over there.
Elevator to get there too?
We're not putting them on an elevator. They're going down the stairs,
Downstairs?
and they're gonna have to figure it out. That's why we're hiring movers. Yes.
But Jim, just to clarify, so what are they be used for? Are they used for, are the tax files gonna go over there?
They're records of the tax collector that he says some of are from the 50s, that he has been told in these seminars that they have to attend, that have to be maintained.
Wow.
It's kind of a surprise to me, because I thought after 7 years,
Right.
except for certain documents, they could all go into the truck out here when InfoShred comes. But evidently, there's documents that they have to retain.
So they have to
So,
retain in a fireproof cabinet?
That's what we were told.
All right.
He then proceeded to try to tell the registrars they needed the same cabinets. They threw them out of the office. There will be the first selectmen's debates. Always fun. Wednesday, October 18th, which is next week, at 7 PM in the gymnasium at High Plains Community Center. Sunday, October 29th, 7 PM. It's an evening debate this time, instead of usually they're in the morning, at Congregation or Shalom, 205 Old Grassy Hill Road, put on by the men's, I think it was still put on by the men's club? Okay. And the third one is supposed to be November 2nd at High Plains Community Center, and it's supposed to be put on by the Amity, it's a student group that, it's the Amity, I don't want to say legal aid, but they're a group of students there at Amity that are taking on legal studies and do mock trials and all that, and they want to have a debate. They wanted to have one in the afternoon, but that's not happening. So the two first selectman candidates generally in the past have been asked to go to the Ms. Browett's and Mr. Borelli's classes, which are the critical issues classes, and speak to the students. We haven't been contacted for that because this was up in the air, so I imagine that Mr. Moyer and myself will be going to critical issues class over there, and then this group wants to hold a debate at High Plains, and I believe it's November, I believe it's the 2nd, at 7 PM. So it's good, actually, to get a group of, Amity students involved in this. I think it helps get their education, this group that has interest in that. So anyhow, so that's where we are. Okay.
And Jim, all three of those are open to the public?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Make sure
Yes.
people know that.
Yes, they're all open to the public. I'm sorry, I just take that for granted. Yes, they are. Anybody and everybody is welcome. Okay, minutes. To consider and act upon the minutes of the September 6th, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If there are any errors, omissions, or corrections, please state page and paragraph. If there are,
Approve.
So approved.
Second.
okay, that's what I was
Before we
gonna say.
vote, just want to make sure, at the last meeting,
Discussion?
yeah, I'm sorry. The last meeting, I discussed briefly in general terms about the pension board. I then sent everybody on this board a
An
more
email.
detailed report. I don't know if you wanted, you didn't get that? Maybe I sent everybody but you? I apologize then. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see that attached.
I have it.
You have it? Okay.
I'll-
We just attach that to the minutes as a more complete report on the pension board. I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have it on mine. He sent it to, I didn't even notice that you weren't on it.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
usually I include you in the group.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion was had. Is there any other? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. New business, to consider an act on request to approve the bid recommendation for the 23-24 town tree removal bids. Mr. Brinton, would you like to come up?
Sure. This is one of our annual bids. You have the results. The low bidder this year was Paolo Landscape and Tree Removal. The only difference is because his hourly rate, so that's for a list of trees, it's a lump sum amount. His hourly rate is higher than two other orange firms, so I was suggesting that we award essentially to all of them and then have the highway department, if there is any emergency tree work during the year. And it's a good idea to have multiple ones. I mean, hopefully not during the remainder of my career, but when we had the SAAS, we got FEMA reimbursement for that. We just lucked out that we had two contractors under bid and we used them, because if you don't use bids, then you either don't get the full reimbursement or you don't get reimbursed.
So you're recommending to use Paolo Landscaping and Tree Removal of Orange for the general bid of the as what we call the list of trees, which
Yes.
are hazard dying trees along roadsides or on some town properties, and then include Denny Tree Service of Orange and Rana Tree Removal LLC of Orange with their bids of $275 for the first one I named and $265 for emergency tree work.
Correct.
Okay.
And Paulo as well?
Yeah.
And Paolo, yeah, and Paolo as well. Yeah. At 310. Okay, we received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bids for this tree removal list. The lowest one being Paolo at $37,999, and the highest being All Area Northeastern Tree Service of Cranston, Rhode Island. Wow, of $59,000. So then there was one at 58.9, 57.5, 47.2, 38.5, and then Paulo at 37.999. So with Mr. Brinton's recommendation on that, is there a
Motion.
motion to approve it as?
Motion to
presented?
approve Paulo Landscaping, Tree Removal of Orange, the lump sum for 2023 tree list of $37,999. And then to utilize the following three vendors as necessary for emergency tree removal at an hourly rate be Rana Tree Removal of Orange at $265 an hour, Denny Tree Service of Orange at $275 an hour, and Paul Landscaping and Tree Removal of Orange at $310 an hour.
Okay, motion's made. Is it seconded? Second over there. Okay, no more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, unanimous. The next bid is to consider an act on request to approve the bid for snow plowing services for the 23-24 season. Last year, we ended up paying these contractors, there's a reserve in there that they receive if they don't hit that minimum. And I believe they all received the minimum, because as you may recall, last winter had minimal snow. And so each year varies. We've had years when they've made enough to go to the islands, and we've had years like last year when they're having soup and crackers. So, but this year, the recommendation is we have two trucks from Mike's Auto Repair. One is a large dump truck at $350 per hour. One is a Mason dump truck at $275 per hour. Hine Landscape Construction LLC has one dump truck, big dump truck at $3.50 per hour. Apollo Landscaping of Orange has two large dump trucks at $3.50 per hour. T Development Inc. of Milford, Connecticut, large dump trucks at $3.50 per hour. And J&J Landscaping of East Haven, one large truck at $3.50 per hour. And as you see there, it said all references have been checked and all were okay. And they did a interesting way this year. They set the prices and then here's what we're paying. And that's, the people accepted it. I'm thinking some past years, there's been discussion where prices were all over the board and who was poking at each other, you know? So this year, way it was all structured. A lot of towns that do this have now gone to this process, and we find it to make more sense. So with that said, I think you might have the other truck there. There's somebody else that said, the last paragraph will tell you he was one short, but I think he now has somebody, but it shows you, those are the rates they're gonna get paid regardless. So,
Yeah, actually, there's 8 that bid, and we only wanted to hire 7, so we're suggesting just to hire everybody from Orange, and then one each for the East Haven and Milford contractors.
so, okay, any other questions? Is there a motion on that?
Motion to approve the recommendation from the Public Works Director and Snow Plowing Services.
Okay, okay, motion's made and seconded. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. To consider an act on request to accept an approximate 700-foot extension of Old Coach Road. Mr. Brinton?
Yep, the developer, I guess, finally completed this road. I guess they built the last house and paved the road, and developers typically want to have the town accept the road before winter so they don't have to plow the roads. But the work's been done, you know, in accordance with our requirements. There was a long delay on this one between the first course and the second course of pavement. It's kind of an old subdivision, but it's, I recommend you accept it. There's still a little bit of monument work and stuff they're doing, which would be, is secured by the subdivision bond, which I think they'll be seeking to obtain.
Any questions on this one? Old Coach is way over off Willard, up over in there. Motion?
Motion to approve if they've, done everything that they have to, so good for them.
Second on that? Okay, motion. Any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Okay.
Thank you. Town of Orange is now 700 more feet of road.
The next one here is from the Campos. This is one of the houses down in the former Army housing, the affordable housing down there. And Mr. Campos, he wants to be selling his home at 359 Sybil Street, Orange, and would like to give the town of Orange the right of first refusal regarding the sale of my home. I understand the meeting October 11th, 2023, and look forward to receiving your response. So the town owns the land underneath the homes, and they own the home. They were built originally for that Fort Devens Nike site, which is there up on the hill across the street, up behind Connex and the gravel place there. The Cherry Hill has a gravel yard up there and all. But then at one point, they sold it when Miss Berger was in office. The town bought them. And it's very structured as to how much they can sell it for, how much growth they're allowed to make on it from what they paid for it. And there's a process that you have to go through. You have to submit your financial statements. The assessor has to review it to see what your allowable resale value will be. And then he also has to look at the submission of the person or people who want to buy it to make sure they fall within the affordable guidelines for that home. So the Camposes want to sell their home. They're ready to move on. They have They started out as just a couple, and now they have, I believe, 2 children. So they're looking at houses elsewhere. So we have first right of refusal. Does anybody here at the table want the town to take it back and then resell it, or are we gonna allow
Well,
them
have
to
we
sell
done
it?
that before in the past? Have we purchased any in the past?
Only
know?
one. There was a hardship case that I recall. There was one, and then it unloaded. I don't even know if it actually ever hit our hands as I think about it. It may have actually gone to another person and through a process. I think we had voted to do it, and then I think they were able to get out of it with a third party. So it worked out pretty well for them. But normally, no. There's one that possibly in the future that I know of, we may end up with. It's not a good situation.
Okay.
Yeah, but this one is not a problem, and it is maintained and all.
Good.
So,
Perfect.
so if there's, what's that? What's that? Okay, so he's behind the sewer. Their sewer, 21 is paid, 2023 they owe, and they haven't paid there's a small land lease. I think they pay $125 or $150 a year for their land lease. So he hasn't paid those 2 things. So I would approve I would say we're not gonna take the house back, but these things must be paid before he can move forward with his sale of his home. All right? So make that as a motion, the town.
Motion to waive
does
the right
not
of
wish
first
to
refusal.
exercise their right of first refusal.
And three-
However,
Yep.
the land lease and sewer bills must be up to date prior to sale.
That's what I said.
Okay. Okay, the motion's made.
Second.
Okay, 2 seconds on this side. All in favor? Aye. All right. To consider an act on request to authorize the first selectman on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to execute the tower lease at 525 Orange Center Road between the Orange Volunteer Fire Association and the town of Orange. They worked it out between lawyers. I think the lawyers are the only ones who made money on this. Yes, you heard me.
I'll have to bill for it then. But do we have to amend the 150 to 165?
I gotta speak to it. So, it turned out in exploring before they got up there now, that the 150 level would be too close to possibly some antennas that don't exist at this point, but if they decide to put them at their right at 160, so this, instead of them being at 150, whoever makes the motion needs to make the motion and say to amend it to the height of 165 on the tower, and that works. It's all been checked, it's cleared, it's okay. So with that said, then the fire department and police department, all emergency services antennas will be located at the 165 height level. However, the police department is part of the town, so they don't have a lease with the town because they are the town. And the fire department is a separate incorporated business, so they do need a lease with the town. So with that said, yes, Mitchell?
I'm a little confused. You're saying that the police are already at the 165 level?
No, they're both gonna be there. They're both moving.
They're both moving.
The police are getting new equipment. Currently, they only have 2 antennas at this level.
Okay.
But they've ordered new equipment, which is now all in.
Right.
So both the fire department and police department will be installing new telecommunication equipment, radio repeater equipment, and whatever other cellular type of equipment at the 165 level.
And what's the next level above that?
That's it.
That's the highest level?
Yep.
It does say 165 on the premises.
Did they update it?
Maintained in 165 feet location in the tower.
All right, well, then you
Where
don't
do
need
see
to
that?
amend
Where
it.
do you see that?
You must have amended it.
I definitely don't recall doing that.
Well,
Okay.
the second paragraph, it says, the owner, existing
So,
160.
second paragraph, it says 160. The last paragraph under.
165,
premises.
yeah.
Well, just approve it, the lease at 165,
And
the
that's,
height, and then I'll make sure the lease, I
That's
was
what-
away last week, so I didn't touch the document. But I'll speak with the opposing attorney.
So
So it's
that,
okay.
that one was built by AT&T, wasn't it?
correct.
But didn't AT&T go to the 160 level? Because whoever built the
They're at-
towers,
No, they're at the 150, I think they retain like the 150 level. I think that's
it's
where the
interesting.
conflict
Because
was.
as I recall, those who built, those,
They were
they who built the tower always got the top spot because they got the most coverage, so I'm
Well, this
surprised.
is
that they-
actually going by way of extension, I think.
Okay. All right, motion to approve the agreement for co-location of public safety emergency service equipment with the Volunteer Fire Association at the 165-foot level of the High Plains Community Center Tower,
Correct.
cell tower.
Motion made. Is there a second to that? PJ? Okay, any other discussion? The one thing I can tell you, you can go up there and measure it, because I'm not big on height, and it's 165, definitely not me. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Not that far, let me tell you. That we have a 75 and a 100, not a 165. Not even close.
Need an extension on that.
No. Number 6, to consider an act on request to authorize the first selectman on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to execute the fiscal year 2023 State Homeland Security Grant Program Region 2 Memorandum of Agreement. That's a yearly
So moved.
item that we do. Okay, motion's made. Second? Any questions on it? It was in front of you? Okay. All in favor? All right. Unanimous. Item number 7, to consider an act on the schedule of the regular Board of Selectmen meetings for the 2024 year. And this year, there's actually leeway there, the way it falls, so Mitch had questioned me about moving it, because we usually move it because of the fair. But this
So
time-
now I got to move the
That
already
would-
approved Orange Recycling Committee back, because I anticipated.
You jumped that?
Jumped it. I anticipated that one.
Nope, we'll be all right.
Yeah,
So with that done, is there a motion to accept that?
motion to accept the calendar.
Okay, well, and second on that? Second. Okay. Seconds all over.
Giving it to you. Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item number 8 is to consider an act on request to approve the tax refunds totaling $12,692.25. They're before you. The print is getting smaller, but the list stays about the same.
So moved.
Okay. Motion's made. Is there a second to that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Pension Board, Mitch, you reported last month, again?
There's nothing further to report this month.
Okay. PJ, Fred Wolf?
Yes, we had a meeting last week that I was unable to attend. I missed my first meeting because I was playing in the Orange Police Golf Tournament, which was a great event.
It was crowded, I saw you.
It was. It was a beautiful day, too. So BL came and presented, they did their drone flight over the site, including the fields, Tom. And they came back with some recommendations that they're going to pass along to Public Works and the police department to make sure the whole town is on the same page. So this is phase 1 that we've always talked about. Make the existing footprint as safe as possible. So they're coming in with their recommendations. They're gonna, like I said, coordinate with Public Works and the police department to make sure that the existing footprint is safe for our children. And then we'll begin the next phases of development, or looking at the development.
Okay.
So
Capital,
when they get back to us, we will put another meeting on the calendar.
Ralph, capital planning, how's it coming? Have you started yet?
It's coming slow. All inputs are due on next Friday, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So
Then we'll start to hear a little more.
we'll start to get a little more, yeah.
Okay.
Usually most of the people make it on time.
I know one that never does.
No comment.
Okay, thank you.
One- I have
Oh, go
One
ahead.
thing here. Maybe we need to appropriate some money for the tax collector to get a new reproduction machine?
The printer.
Or am I the only one that
Why?
got one?
I got what you got too. It's inside the cabinets that are on the sidewalk.
There's a hand reaching out trying to help. Okay, we'll see what we can do. All right, with that said,
Move to adjourn?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else before Ralph jumps at me there, but I don't think so. Yeah. Mitch, we'll see you at that meeting we'll see you out there next week for that recycling company.
I'll be online.
Oh, okay.
She gave me a Zoom link for it.
I may be too. So, I thought I was gonna miss it altogether, but, now we're not, so.
Adjourn?
Oh, we are adjourned.